The airline employee took her passport and started speaking to her in English. Valeria only understood a few words. At first, she thought it was just a routine inspection, but the longer the employee spoke, the more nervous she became. A few minutes later, she was asked to step aside while the other passengers continued boarding. Then her plane took off without her, and that single moment would change her life forever.
That must have been terrifying. I think that's one of the biggest fears many immigrants and travelers have. Arriving in another country and not understanding what people are saying. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast in English.
Hello, everyone. I am David.
David. What exactly did the airport employee tell her?
Let's listen to the conversation. These are phrases every traveler and immigrant should know.
Good afternoon, ma'am. May I see your passport, please?
Sure, here you go.
I'm sorry, but your passport is damaged.
Sorry.
You can't board this flight.
I don't understand.
Please contact your embassy. They will help you get an emergency passport.
Now I understand why she was so confused. If you've never heard those expressions before, it's easy to panic.
Exactly. And here's something really important for anyone learning English. You don't have to speak perfect English, but you do need to understand a few key phrases that could completely change a situation like this. For example, your passport is damaged. You can't board this flight. And here's one sentence you should always remember. Could you please repeat that more slowly? Believe me, that simple sentence can save you from a lot of problems when you're traveling.
So, what did Valeria do after she was denied boarding? Was she able to book another flight?
That's exactly what she thought she would do. She only needed to spend one more night in Bali, find a cheap hotel, contact her embassy, and fly home the next day. But she had no idea that one decision would place her at the center of one of the island's most disturbing mysteries, because that night, Valeria vanished without a trace. With very little money left, Valeria started searching for a place to stay near the airport. She found a room that was surprisingly cheap. The photos looked decent. The reviews were mostly positive. It seemed like the perfect place to spend just one night. After all, she would be flying home the next day. Or at least, that's what she believed. When the taxi dropped her off, something immediately felt wrong. The hotel wasn't on a busy street. It was hidden at the end of a narrow alley. The farther she walked, the quieter everything became. Empty lots surrounded the area. Several abandoned buildings stood nearby. There were no tourists, no restaurants, just a few stray dogs silently watching her as she walked by. She slowed down. For a brief moment, she thought about turning around. There was something about that place she couldn't explain, a feeling deep inside telling her, "Don't stay here." But frustration took over. She had already lost her flight. She still needed to contact her embassy. She couldn't afford an expensive hotel, so she convinced herself, it's only one night. She took a deep breath and kept walking.
You know, sometimes our instincts warn us before our minds understand what's happening. Have you ever had that feeling that something just wasn't right?
Valeria definitely had that feeling, but she ignored it. The room was small. The bed looked clean. The bathroom was old but usable. At first glance, everything seemed normal, until she noticed something strange. There wasn't a single window facing outside. No sunlight. No fresh air. Only 4 silent walls. Valeria stood there for a few seconds, trying to convince herself that she was overthinking. She placed her backpack on the chair, plugged in her phone, and decided to go out to find something to eat. She had no idea that she would never spend another peaceful night again. After leaving the hotel, Valeria walked toward the main road looking for a place to eat. She tried to order a ride using a transportation app. One driver accepted, then canceled. Another accepted, and canceled again. The same thing happened a third time. She stared at her phone in confusion. Why was nobody willing to pick her up? Eventually, she walked to a nearby restaurant and had lunch. Later that afternoon, she headed to the beach, hoping to forget everything that had happened at the airport. But something there caught her attention. Groups of people were carrying enormous statues of strange creatures through the streets. Others were dressed in traditional clothing. The atmosphere felt both festive and unsettling. As the sun began to set, smoke slowly rose into the sky. That night, Bali was preparing for Nyepi, the Day of Silence, a celebration unlike any other in the world.
David, that's a new word for many of our listeners. How do you pronounce embassy correctly? I know it's a word every traveler should learn.
Great question. The word is embassy. Repeat after me, embassy. Now listen to this useful sentence. I need to contact my embassy. One more time. I need to contact my embassy. If you're traveling abroad, that sentence could be extremely important.
Wow, this story is really terrifying. Please keep going.
When Valeria returned to the hotel just before sunset, the alley was completely empty. No voices, no traffic. Only the distant sound of a dog barking somewhere in the darkness. She locked the door behind her and checked her phone. Finally, the embassy had replied. The email explained that her country's embassy wasn't located in Bali. She would have to travel to Jakarta to apply for an emergency passport. For a brief moment, she felt relieved. She finally had a plan. But then she read the rest of the message. The next day, Nyepi would begin. For 24 hours, the airport would be completely closed. All flights would be canceled. No one would be allowed to leave the island. Valeria closed her eyes. There was no way out. She would have to spend one more night in that strange hotel. Valeria took a deep breath. She picked up her phone and sent one last message to her sister. The embassy replied, I have to travel to Jakarta after Nyepi. I'll be okay. I'll text you tomorrow. A few seconds later, her sister answered. Please be careful. Valeria smiled. She locked the door, placed her damaged passport on the table, turned off the lights, and lay down on the bed. A few minutes passed. Then, she heard it. A slow knock. This time, it came from right outside her door. Valeria sat up. She held her breath. Maybe it was another guest. Maybe someone had the wrong room. Or maybe someone knew she was there. She reached for her phone. No signal. The hallway outside was completely silent. Then, 3 loud knocks echoed through the room. Knock! 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 Her heart started racing. She whispered to herself, Who's there? No answer. Only silence. A silence so deep. It almost felt alive. Suddenly, the lights went out. Everything became dark. Completely dark.
Oh my God, this is getting really scary. But I have a question, David. Just before the lights went out, Valeria whispered, Who's there? That's a very common English expression, isn't it?
Exactly. If someone knocks on your door, you can simply ask, Who's there? Let's say it together. Who's there? Simple, but very useful. Unfortunately, Valeria never received an answer. The following morning, the room was empty. Her damaged passport was still on the table. Her phone charger remained plugged into the wall. Her backpack had never been opened. Everything was exactly where she had left it. Everything except Valeria. To this day, no one knows what happened that night. Some believe she left the hotel on her own. Others believe someone entered the room. And there are those who insist that on certain nights, strange footsteps can still be heard walking down that windowless hallway. So now we leave the question to you. What do you think happened to Valeria? Leave your theory in the comments, because sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones that are never solved.
Wow, that story was terrifying. But I also realized something. If Valeria had understood English at the airport, maybe everything would have been different. Before we finish, let's review today's most useful English expressions.
Great idea. Let's imagine you're the traveler this time. Listen carefully and repeat each sentence out loud.
Your passport is damaged.
Repeat. Your passport is damaged.
You can't board this flight.
Again, you can't board this flight.
Could you please repeat that more slowly?
Excellent. One more time. Could you please repeat that more slowly?
I need to contact my embassy.
Repeat. I need to contact my embassy.
Who's there?
Last one. Who's there? Excellent job.
Now imagine hearing those same sentences in a real airport. I think I'd understand them much better now.
Exactly. That's the best way to learn English. Not by memorizing endless vocabulary lists, but by learning words and expressions through real situations and unforgettable stories. If today's episode helped you improve your English and kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to subscribe every week. We'll uncover a new mystery while helping you build the English confidence you'll need when traveling, living abroad, or starting a new life in another country. And now, we have one final question for you.
What do you think really happened to Valeria? Was it a crime, an accident, or something no one has ever been able to explain? Leave your theory in the comments. We'll be reading every single one. Until next time, keep learning, stay curious, and remember, sometimes understanding just one sentence can change everything. Bye, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend.
Bye, everyone. Have a good week and take care.